So here we go. Number one question to Jaden for the test tomorrow. I want you to list the 3 areas of the Southern way of life that the Civil War left a negative mark on.
All 3?
Yep.
Social institutions,
Yep.
economics, and agriculture.
Economic life
Economic.
and agriculture. Those are the 3 things, 3 areas of the Southern way of life that were affected negatively after the Civil War, right? Okay, David, my man, name one of the 2 things an individual citizen of the South would be required to do in order to receive amnesty from President Lincoln and become an American citizen again.
Didn't you have to pledge to the Union?
Pledge what?
Pledge that,
It's the AA word. You do it every day, you do it before, you do it when you were in elementary, you stood in front of the flag and
pledge allegiance.
pledge, they had to pledge allegiance to the Union. What's another thing they had to do, Rachel? Now, what are we supposed to be when we have reviews if we're gonna have them? Ready. Okay, yes,
Did they
Jane?
have to promise to follow all the laws?
That included the prohibition of slavery. They also had to follow all federal laws, including the prohibition of slavery. Okay, Peyton, my dear, give me one example of Southern citizens that would not be offered amnesty by President Lincoln. Yeah, abuse of prisoners of war, true. Kyra? The question was, give me one example of citizens in the South that would not be offered amnesty by President Lincoln.
People who left the Union government to serve in the Confederate government.
Very good. People that left the Union government to serve in the Confederate government. And the last one, Aurora?
High-ranking members of the Confederate military.
Yeah, officers. Yeah, high-ranking officers of the Confederate military would not receive amnesty. Okay, Carla. What was President Lincoln's criteria for a Southern state to be readmitted back into the Union? What was President Lincoln's criteria for a Southern state to be readmitted back into the Union?
Lincoln wanted 10% of the citizens in the states to pledge
Allegiance. Yep, allegiance. Yep, 10% of the people in the state had to pledge allegiance to the Union. Pretty easy. Okay, Leighton, give me one of the 2 notable radical Republicans that opposed Lincoln's plan for the South.
Charles Sumner.
Charles Sumner's one. How about another one there, Caitlin? Thaddeus Stevens. Very good. Meg, other than having 10% of your population plead allegiance to the Union, what were the other 2 requirements to be admitted back into the Union according to the Wade-Davis bill?
Only people who are loyal to the Union could run and hold political office.
Very good. Only Southerners loyal to the Union could run and hold political office. Rhiannon, how about another requirement according to the Wade-Davis bill?
Southern states had to include the right to a state constitution acknowledging that slaves were free.
Very good. Exactly right. States had to redo their constitutions and put in their constitutions the fact that slaves were free. Joe, give me one reason why President Lincoln vetoed that Wade-Davis bill.
They would make it harder for the state to come back.
Be harder for a Southern state to come back into the Union, because remember, he wanted to reunify the Union. And Julie, what was the other reason he vetoed it?
He felt that the U.S. Constitution should have blacks in free.
That's right. He thought that a state constitution wasn't adequate, that it needed to be in the United States federal constitution, that slavery was outlawed or blacks were free. Yep. Okay, Navy. Who were the two guests that accepted the invitation from President and Mrs. Lincoln to attend the play performance at Ford's Theater on April 14th, 1865? Two accepted. He invited 14 and only 2 accepted. Who were they? One of them got slashed in the arm.
Right across his arm bone.
Yeah, right across his arm bone.
I see what she did there.
Say it! Rathbone, and who else? What was his name? What was his first name? Henry Rathbone, and his fiancée, Clara Harris. Okay. Very good. Elisa, what did Frederick Seward have to do with the Lincoln assassination? Come on, you just heard about him today on the video. Were we watching, girls and boys? Frederick Seward, what do you have to do with the assassination? I don't know if we're going to get through this review. Gabe, how do we not know this? Joe?
Well, he was the son of William Seward, and William Seward was the Secretary of State, right? And he was, Lewis Powell was going to assassinate him, but on his way to assassinate him, Frederick Seward came out and tried to, I'd say, I'll take him.
Right.
And Lewis Powell came on him, gun, and
Fractured his skull. Actually, there's another thing you could say too. Anybody think of the other one? What else did Frederick Seward do the day of the Lincoln assassination? What was he serving as? What was his position? What was his job?
Oh, he replaced,
He replaced his father temporarily while his father was recovering from the carriage accident as Secretary of State. So you could have either one of those. Okay. Other than blaming President Lincoln for the South's problems after the Civil War, give me one other reason John Wilkes Booth planned the kidnapping of the president. Anybody?
Trade for the.
What?
Trade
Go.
for the prisoners of war.
He was going to trade Lincoln for Confederate prisoners of war. What else? On the video, yes.
He felt like a coward. He was good fighting about it.
Very good, Rachel. He felt like a coward because he didn't join the Southern cause, and he watched all these Southern soldiers lose life, and all he did was portray himself as a hero on screen, so to speak, although it wasn't screen at the time. So, that's right. Very good. Okay, Aaron. Who was John Parker, and what did he have to do with the Lincoln assassination?
He was a member of the police,
Yep.
and he was ordered to guard the president.
Yeah, John Parker was ordered to guard the president during the play performance. Remember, he left his post, right? Sat in his seat to watch. Very good. Emily, my dear, who is Harry Hawk, and what did he have to do with the Lincoln assassination? Harry Hawk.
He was the one that performed Funny Line.
He was an actor who performed the funny line in the play that led to Booth's cue to shoot the president while everybody laughed. Very good. Kyra, my dear, who was Charles Leal, and what did he have to do with the Lincoln assassination? Charles Leal. Should I offer all this money to answer the question?
I can answer right now. Yeah.
Okay, well, go ahead. You don't have it yet, or what you raised your hand
Are you
for?
taking
You
it?
want the money?
Oh, yeah, are you gonna give me that? Yeah,
No,
he was
go ahead,
the,
dear, you got it? Okay, Aurora, go ahead.
he was the first person to attend President Lincoln after he was shot.
First what?
Doctor?
Yeah, first doctor. And how old was he? 23. And how long he had been a doctor? 45 days. Some of you were listening. Good. He was the doctor who first attended Lincoln after he was shot. Okay, Carla, who made the following statement? Now he belongs to the ages. That was as soon as President Lincoln was pronounced dead. Who made that statement? Now he belongs to the ages. Edwin Stanton, Secretary of War. Very good. Okay, Leighton. Contrary to the video, which I can't believe you put out a video like that and put that information incorrect, how much was the reward the federal government was offering for the capture of John Wilkes Booth? $100,000. That amazes me that they have that in their law. Okay. Gabe, who silenced John Wilkes Booth for life at the Garrett Farmhouse Barn in Virginia on April 23rd, 1865? Who was that crazy bugger? Religious fanatic. Part-time amateur surgeon.
Boston Corbett.
Boston Corbett, yes.
Oh, I just got that.
Megan, I want a quote on this. A quote. Why did President Andrew Johnson refuse the recommendation of the military commission concerning the sentencing of Mary Surratt? I want a quote. Quote. You'll see quotation marks in the quiz.
She kept the nest that hatched the egg.
She kept the nest that hatched the egg. Very good. Okay, Caitlin. Which of the conspirators was pardoned by President Andrew Johnson by virtue of an unsigned pardon that was returned to the White House by the wife of the pardoned? I'll read that again. Which of the conspirators was pardoned by Andrew Johnson by virtue of an unsigned pardon that was returned to the White House by the wife of the pardoned? Because President Johnson wanted to sign it in front of her. And it took a month from the time the pardon was issued to the time that she got it to the place to pardon him.
Like, who was the wife or who was the guy that got
Who
pardoned?
was the guy that got pardoned? Samuel Mudd, that's right. Very good. Okay, Rachel. Which of the conspirators was found guilty and sentenced to 6 years in prison for aiding Booth in his escape from Ford's Theater? Edmund Spangler, that's right. Remember, he slapped the guy in the face and told him to be quiet, and it was none of his business, and you don't know which way he went, etc. Okay, Elisa, my dear, which of the conspirators was tried and released as a result of a hung jury more than 2 years after the Lincoln assassination? It wasn't senior, it was junior. John Surratt Jr. Very good, my dear. And last but not least, Julie Warren. How did Confederate General Joe Johnston sum up the death of Abraham Lincoln when he received word of the president's assassination?
He said, "We have lost our best friend."
That's exactly right. We have lost our best friend. All right, there's the 25, kiddos. They'll be worth 4 points apiece. And the test will be tomorrow, so please meet in the comments. It is closed note.